Okay, I'm about 24 miles north of the California border, but here you go again. Constant theme in these rest stops in Oregon. It's human trafficking. So I'm going to talk a little about that. I wrote a little about it in Cretans, just a little bit, glossed over it. One of the villains said he ran black sites around the world. I know about human trafficking, etc. I got about an hour and a half sleep, by the way, and that felt good. It's a little after 10 a.m. December 12th right now, Saturday. As far as the human trafficking, I want to talk about this job that I had recently. Not the one that I just left a few days ago, but the one that I had from July until Halloween, that job. That was a fun job. It was a fun job in a lot of ways, but it had a high turnover rate because at the beginning of the job, it's very physical. It's lifting like 50-pound bags of dog food and stacking them 6 feet high, 4 feet high, whatever. And some people, are very good at it and didn't care, and you last long, but a lot of people just don't want to go through it. And I had to do the physical hard part for about a month, and then I got a job on a cherry picker in the Seattle area. They call them man up. They don't call them cherry pickers. In California, they call them cherry pickers, where you go up with the pallet. You go 30 feet in the air, and my first job when I was 19, I've been doing it since I was 19. Anyhow, this whole idea of the human trafficking, our boss was a Russian guy, and his first name was Vitaly. So we got, this is the only job I've ever had where we could bring in a Bluetooth speaker. I mean, they didn't even have Bluetooth speakers when I was, a teenager in my 20s. But now they have Bluetooth speakers, Can't remember when the iPhone came around, 2009, I don't know. I mean, there's no way we could have Bluetooth speakers before that, but now everyone has Bluetooth speakers. They have their playlists on their iPhones, or whatever, smartphones they have. And then, wireless connection to a speaker. So, when football season started, I bought myself a Bluetooth speaker. Something like $125 or whatever, and I'm still listening to it right now in the van. It's pretty loud. It's pretty nice, But, I got to listen to football on Sundays, Mondays, Thursdays, whenever football was going on. And, when it wasn't sports, obviously, I listened to music. And sometimes I'd have a playlist that I programmed, especially leading up to Halloween. I like Oingo Boingo, and they were always like a Halloween band. And after they stopped touring, Ozzy Osbourne came around, and he started doing Halloween stuff, and played Ozzy Osbourne and stuff like that. In the warehouse, which was very deliberate. But you can't make a playlist all the time, especially I was working 15-hour shifts, so a lot of it would be on random play. Now, Vitaly is this old school kind of boss, kind of like my first long-term boss, Robert, from a pizza store. Robert used to go around calling everyone fucking idiots. Fucking idiots. This is back in the 80s, as a teenager in the 80s. Fucking idiots this and fucking idiots. And Robert was very famous for firing people and then calling them back and saying, no, you're scheduled for Friday. He's just a very emotional, and, he got angry very easy. It's crazy. But that was the 80s, and now when the 90s came along, things got very politically correct. We started seeing these commercials on TV about, hey, are you being harassed at work? Call this number, 1-800, whatever, you know? And that kind of stopped. At least in California, it kind of stopped. And I hate to say it, but it opens doors for chicken shits, man. It really does. This whole politically correct atmosphere. I could go on for 20-30 minutes and talk about that by itself. And it also opens itself up for passive aggressive management style. You know, it's kind of like you give someone a compliment. Hey, I like your shoes. If it was still 1950, you know, it's like you think, it's like, what the fuck was that, man? And it's like, hey, man, you're doing a good job, but you really suck, you know. And it opens it up for that kind of stuff, and it feels very phony in a lot of ways. But what's a management going to do now? You're going to get sued. You're going to get fired for harassment now, and that's how California became. Now this guy Vitaly, he's Russian, man. He's a Russian guy, and you know he would be just like Robert and my next boss after that at a warehouse where I was driving the cherry picker. His name was Roy. Roy got fired because his buddy socked someone after work. We were drinking in a parking lot, and you know his buddy socked someone, and Roy didn't do anything about it. And the guy that got socked, his dad was a deputy. So Roy got fired because, you know, we're not supposed to be drinking in the parking lot, and he just supposedly didn't handle things correctly. But Roy would tell people in the meetings, hey, if you're not cutting it, there's window P. And window P is the window you go to for unemployment. Okay? So window P, and, you know. Anyway. A quick thing about those two guys too, Robert and Roy, is we've actually boxed inside a pizza store, intentionally boxed. They brought boxing gloves, and we used to play baseball, and you know, we back then you could get physical with your employees even like that. And hey, it used to be crazy. But Roy got fired, but Vitaly, he reminded me of those old days, and in some ways, that's what I prefer. Because he would say it. He would say, hey man, you're not slaves. You're not prisoners. You can walk out right now. You know, for people that, you know, aren't good with attendance or effort or whatever. And, you know, it's kind of refreshing, but we got to play our own music, and one time it was on Random Play, and I was driving by his office, and there was the Who Won't Get Fooled Again, and a lyric that was playing as I was driving by his office. Here comes the old boss, no, here comes the new boss, same as the old boss, you know, but I won't get fooled again, whatever. And he came out of his office. It was so funny, and he stared at me. It was so goddamn funny. I mean, that's a nutshell of what happened, but he talked to a couple people as well. But no, human trafficking is not funny. And you know, the thing on the bathroom wall right there, you know, it's at every rest stop out here. It's at every rest stop. You know, the signs about, hey, are you here against your will? So it's kind of scary. It must be a thing, you know. So I'll talk to you later. I'm about to head to Redding. It's about 150 miles away. I should be there by a little afternoon. And there's hotels in the $50 to $60 range, which is very affordable for a couple days. I'm going to watch football tomorrow on Sunday, and check out on Monday, and then head to my sister's in San Jose. I still haven't called her. So, all right, guys.